Honorable Excellencies and Associates, delegates and participants, and representatives from different segments of the society. Myself Chandan Kumar Mishra, I am sharing you my presentation on project management. I wrote it on Thursday, 13th June 2024 at New Delhi at my rental accommodation residence. This is about project management. I would like to share directly the PowerPoints with you. Like there are certain steps of training management or project management to organize a planned training program, such as first of all, write down the proposal later for commencement of the training program. Training proposal should explain about following subjects. Number 1, context and relevancy of the proposed training program, aims and objectives of the training program, introduction and description about the targeted participants of the proposed training program, contents of the training, profile, introduction of the trainers, program implementation action plan. And about program implementation action plan, it completes in several phases, like preparatory phase, like what kind of preparations would be required for training program or for completion of the proposed project, review and selection of the contents, then empanelment of trainers or resource person or human resources through selection of the trainers through recruitment and selection process. Selection of the participants of the training program or project participants. Training manuals for implementation of the training program to be developed. Development of audio-visual presentations, PowerPoint presentations, trainers manual, pre-test format, booklets, practice papers, question papers for test series and examinations, chart books, flip chart, group activities for participatory training, case studies, role play exercise, stories for storytelling and focus group discussions, and management games. Then selection of qualified and skilled trainers with prepared training materials. Then training of trainers for commencement of training program all across the India and world as and whenever it is required and proposed by the proposer. Then training of all voters or participants in recently held constituent elections for Lok Sabha 2024 about benefits being provided to them through different government schemes. Similarly, other kind of initiatives will be taken or should be taken for implementation of the activities and programs inclined towards achievements of Sustainable Development Goal 2030 and other ambitious projects of the United Nations and allied international developmental organizations and other participants. Recently held G7 meetings with participation of different members across the globe could also consider about targeted and planned involvements and interventions for development of the human capital of their respective nations. Note, there are a number of welfare-oriented programs of the Government of India and other nations also. People should be trained about all such available avenues of opportunities for them. These program of activities are to be implemented consistently and sustainably. Training implementation for targeted participants of at each training centers by trained trainers during training of trainers program. Thus, description of the training of trainers program should also be presented and training of trainers should be commenced properly. Then B, about implementation phase. Scrutiny and selection of the contents to be incorporated in proposed training program. Organizing training program at various training centers by previously trained trainers. Then monitoring and evaluation phase, about the quality of the training contents, about the training methodology, about the participants during the commencement of the training program, and about the training venue. Then to whom the training program have benefited, what were the benefits availed or received by participants of the training program. These should be mentioned and monitored and evaluated to monitor the performance of the trainers. Then training impacts of participants. Inline survey of the commencements or commenced training program as per the pre-test formats of the baseline survey. Then development of the training calendar with detailed descriptions of the training process, such as serial number, session number with session duration, session name, steps to conduct the session, required training materials, profile of trainers, and time duration. Like session number wise session duration, it's like a preliminary format. It could be drafted properly, like 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. inauguration sessions or introduction and welcome address. Then registration, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. introduction and welcome sessions. 11 to 11:30 tea breaks, 11:30 to 2:30 p.m. pre-test, 2:30 to 3:30 lunch break, 3:30 to 4:30 introduction to the training program. It is for day 1. Then tea break followed by registration forms filling by participants and logistics and accommodations management for their occupancy of residency during the tenure of the proposed training program. Then the day will conclude by dinner and it will continue onwards. So onwards, the program for complete training program should be developed. Timeline of the proposed training program. It should describe about the activities wise tentative estimated time required to complete every activities. Then phase wise activities related estimated time descriptions should be discussed in tabular format. Descriptions about the potential stakeholders from governmental organizations, international organizations, funding agencies, non-government organizations, and local communities of the proposed training area. Description about the other potential participants of the training program, that who else could be participated or participate into the proposed training program. Description about the potential venues and institutions, organizations identified, selected, and finalized to conduct the training program. That is Anganwadi Center, self-help groups, sub-health centers, government schools, community halls, private schools, voting or polling booth centers, Nehru Yuva Kendra, NCC, NSS, police, army, RSS, wings, civils and other government colleges, open universities, NGOs, regular universities, government academics and institutions, as well as private academics and institutions, RSS, Delhi assemblies, Arya Samaj and hospitals, jails, short stay homes, corporate houses, industries and other kinds of institutions, training camps and so on, like temples, vocational training providers, private schools and colleges. Then description about the training methodology as participatory training methodology, child-centered system of education, adult training methodology, distance learning courses, vocational training courses through regular institutional degrees, open schooling degrees, etc., entrepreneurship training, internship training, project training, on-job training, seminars, conferences, assemblies, forums, debates, discussions, speeches, religious and spiritual assemblies, etc. Then application of information and communication technology, projectors, audio-visual systems, and stationaries for the training would be required. All of the above mentioned are the components of the technical proposal. Technical proposal should also discuss about the targeted participants of the training program. Description of the baseline survey for the purpose of identification of the needs and requirements of the proposed training program should also be discussed with participants. Prepare the pre-test formats, prepare the survey formats, prepare the structured proportional interview formats, write about the action plan to conduct the baseline survey and organize the training program for training of the selected investigators or surveyors. Conduct the survey through personal interview in structured interview formats and group discussions with targeted project participants and beneficiaries. Then a structured interview formats should investigate about personal details, academic details, working experiences and qualifications, and questionnaires to inquire about the knowledge, awareness and skills of or to access benefits of different schemes should also be discussed. And programs being implemented by their respective government should also be inquired during the questionnaire and personal interview sessions or examinations. Then conduct data analysis of the collected data and informations of qualitative and quantitative nature obtained through survey. Prepare reports of the comments survey. It should explain about the backgrounds, inferences, observations, and conclusions obtained through baseline survey. Prepare training needs assessment reports on the basis of the survey reports. It should present logical frameworks on indicators of development. It should explain about the inputs, outputs, outcomes, and impacts proposed to obtain through various inputs like technical knowledge, handhold supports, and goods offered to the benefits and services. Goods offered to the beneficiaries and services availed to the targeted beneficiaries. Then about financial proposal. Prepare the budget line item wise details of human resources, logistics, travel, stationaries, foods, communication, then printing and publication, text and video, documentation, transportation, tools and equipments, accounting and auditing, record keeping, and miscellaneous expenditures. Propose to complete the activities proposed to complete the project implementation of the proposed training service and delivery training and service delivery program management plan. A few of the line item or particulars of the budget includes honorarium salary of the required human resources for implementation of the program, training fees for trainers, expenditure required for respectful recognition of the invited eminent dignitaries and excellencies and other guests of honors of respectful reputation and trainers. Then expenditures and of honorarium are proposed to be provided to the guest resource persons as prize money or felicitation cost. Expenditure of prize money, medals, trophies, and certificates for participants. Then publication cost for formats, teachings, and learning materials, reports, souvenirs, and other expenditures of stationeries, pens and notebooks, and training materials for participants. Then travel expenditure for program implementation. During training, survey, logistic management, coordination, correspondence, invitation, and reception of the guests of excellencies and participants, resource persons, service staffs, media and funding organizations and offices of the stakeholders visiting of the NGOs and government organizations. So proper travel arrangements and provisions will be provided. Then training allowances per diem for participants for each day participation in the training program. Sustainably, daily subtotal allowance for participants. Expenditure for photography, text documentation and video documentation and reporting of the program. Expenses of tools and equipments required to impart the training program to all participants. Expenditure for mobile phone distribution or other ICT devices distribution for participants as per the emerged technological needs and available solutions across the globe as per the artificial intelligence and science and technology based advancements of the global humanitarian scientific society. So it should be distributed to the trainers and participants. Then expenditure for installation and upgradation of basic facilities of water, electricity, air, ventilation, washing and cleaning of the training venues, sanitation, toilet maintenance, hygiene and sanitation of the training centers, sitting arrangements for participants, computer system, internet and projector installation cost at training centers, expenditures for installation of audiovisual systems of training centers, then expenditure for books, newspapers, radio, TV installation at training centers, cost of resting area like beds, fans, water supply for guests and participants and so on, foods and breakfast expenditure for programs, communication expenditures for training and project implementation, audit expenditures for project audit, miscellaneous expenditures. Then submit the technical proposal and financial proposal to your concerned department, government ministry or funding organization. Once project proposal evaluation would be commenced by the approached funding organization, contract letters for work order, awards of the project and financial transactions would take place between the funding organization and implementing organization. Then implement the proposed program. Assure project sustainability and acceptance of project into the main course of the program service delivery system of governance of the respective member nations to enforce humanitarian rights, charters, and policies of the United Nations as per the recently organized movements for model United Nations institutions and organizations towards a justful, all-inclusive, and sustainable development goals oriented welfare governance action for unitedly serving the common humanitarian society globally and locally as per the approach, authority, outreach, and approval of the work order for program service to the society. and the global participation and cooperation for peaceful coexistence and inclusive progress of the global humanitarian society would certainly bring the kingdom of the heavenly utopia as by expressed by God or governments during their speeches or discourse. And certainly it will bring some positive change and harmony into the well-being and living and survival of the peoples, we humans on this planet Earth. With sincere thanks and well wishes for our prosper, peaceful, and shared future. Chandan Kumar Mishra, 13 June 2024. Thank you.